Man, I just miss my boy Frank. I hope he gets back soon and everything.
What up?
Frank's back. Yo, what's good, player? How was Florida,
It was a good time. Give me some of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, we back. I know everyone missed me. Let's start this up right. What's going on, guys? Back from Florida. Like I said, thanks, Keith, for holding it down last week.
Always, man. Anytime.
Welcome back to Boston's Banter. Sports are wicked. Banter is Pissah.
You know the deal.
I'm your host, Frank the Bank, as always. Here with me is the trivia master, Keith LaCava.
I tried, man. I thought Ben would have got some of those right last time, but apparently they were too hard, man. We got to make it a little easier next time.
Ben, thanks for filling in. I'm sorry, Keith chose the craziest trivia questions in history. I've seen the next batch of them. We're gonna have you back on for another try. I guess.
Redemption round,
yeah.
He deserves it.
I got 9 out of 10 of them, and I knew the last one too. I should have got that one. So
right.
I feel like if you don't get any of these, you're not allowed on any
Revoking
sports
the
shows.
Football fan card, brother.
No sports shows, no podcast, nothing ever. This one or any of them, you're cut from all of them, just so you know.
Absolutely.
So what's going on, bro? Offensive coordinator of facts.
I like that. Not much Lavernius Broles.
I like that. All right.
I just want to bring up this new piece we got on the desk here. It's not Patriots or Boston sports oriented, but it is autographed by Megatron Calvin Johnson. So that's a good piece there,
I like
Frankie.
that. Yeah, I had to bring it in. I wanted to showcase a few things here.
Absolutely. We'll keep adding stuff.
Why don't we jump right into the Wicked Pissah news?
Here we are, Frankie. We're going to get into it. Wicked Pissah news. NHL Four Nations Championship game update. And unfortunately, Frankie, we saw the game. Canada beat Team USA 3-2 in overtime. Connor McDavid of Canada hit the game-winning goal.
That was crazy. It was a great tournament. If you didn't watch it, it's like old-time hockey. Mm-hmm. You could see the players took a ton of pride in it. Mm-hmm. There was 3 fights in the first 9 seconds because we're playing in Canada. The U.S. national anthem comes on. They stop booing it. Right. So what do? The U.S. steps up and say, we ain't going to have that. We're going to stop beating you up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and they ended up winning that game 3-1.
3-1 the first game, yep.
And I even said it, though, we had a few injuries. And to beat Canada twice, that's their sport.
Tough,
it's
man.
like, that's their sport.
We got them once, but again, man, it was cool like you were talking about, with no All-Star game. Honestly, man, there were a lot of fans that were saying they should consider doing this every year rather than the All-Star game.
It was really fun to watch. The tickets were wicked expensive in Boston, like $2,000 a ticket, which is crazy.
That's insane.
That was like the average ticket price. But it was such a good matchup. Again, a couple injuries here and there, and again, McDavid in overtime. That was a tough hit. Yeah.
That was rough to see. But did you actually see what the crowd was chanting?
Yeah, I mean, like, lost this
I loved that. Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Mike
man.
Eruzione came out with the Gaudreau jersey on, which I thought was amazing.
Awesome. I know, gave me goosebumps.
It's giving me goosebumps right now. It's like literally giving me goosebumps.
That was cool how they did that, man.
And they had it hanging in the locker the whole time, and they're gonna do that probably in Milan next year. They'll probably do it for a while.
Absolutely.
If not ever. There was such a sad situation there, as we talked about before on our show. So
it was. But before we get into the Bruins, you were speaking about injuries to Team USA in that series.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Bruins defenseman Charlie McAvoy did not play in the championship game like we were just talking about. He suffered an injury to his AC joint in his right shoulder on February 13th. It was the game versus Finland.
Yeah.
He developed an infection in his right shoulder that required him to be transported to Mass General Hospital last Monday, man. That was just out of the blue. It was a shoulder injury, then he had to get transported to Mass General over an infection.
Scary. And
then actually come to find out now he's placed on IR. They don't know the timetable for his return, which isn't good for the Bruins, obviously. And the Bruins are not happy with it, actually, quote unquote, extremely unhappy with Team USA's handling of his injury.
Yeah, he played very well, actually.
He did.
He actually, for the Bruins, at times he looks great, at times he doesn't, but he played great. Then he got injured, and now this is happening. It's kind of crazy. It's like, everyone's rooting for McAvoy. He's a great player.
Absolutely, man. But Frankie, let's get into the Bruins update now that they're back playing some games.
Yeah, let's do it.
So currently the Bruins are 27-24-7 on the season, back down to 6th place in the Atlantic Division. Up, down, man. Can we just get past 5 again?
I don't think we're gonna.
So let's break down what they did this past week. So they lost 3-2 in overtime to the Ducks in Boston this past Saturday, and that was the only game they played. The next game is tonight in Boston versus the Maple Leafs. Frankie, how do you think they're going to do against them?
Again, they're not playing great right now.
No.
McAvoy's out. That game against Anaheim, we talked about. Anaheim's not a great team.
Right.
We're not a great team right now. Let's be real. Anaheim only has a few less losses. Less wins than us right now. They've actually made a little bit of a run, but Anaheim went up 2-0 in the first. The Bruins got one back in the second, and then with like a minute and 11 seconds left, with the goalie pulled, they scored.
Yep.
It was waved off for goalie interference, but then we challenged it. and it was a good goal. So we sent it to overtime thinking you'd have the momentum, but in overtime, I mean, you saw it last year a lot. We did not win a lot of games in overtime. This year we had a few more wins in overtime, but unfortunately that's just how that went.
And it's just like you said, man, it's looking rough for them considering the fact too with the overtime losses, man, they're starting to pile up.
Yeah, it's tough, man. 6th place, and again, losing to teams like the Ducks, you can't do that.
No, absolutely not, Frankie.
So.
Alrighty, so let's move over to the Celtics update, Frankie. Celtics are currently 41-16 on the season after the All-Star break, still second in the East. Let's break down what they did this past week. They beat the 76ers 124-104 in Philly this past Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Tatum had 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. I think it was like his 3rd or 4th triple-double of his career.
That was a great game. Peyton Pritchard went crazy, 28 points. He went nuts again.
Leading the league in bench points and three-pointers made.
Oh, he's been an animal for us.
6th man of the year, baby.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, a 118-105 victory over the Knicks in Boston this past Sunday. Tatum again had 25 points, 10 rebounds, and he was 1 assist shy of another triple-double. Back-to-back triple-doubles it would have been for him, but that's still a good stat line there.
Yeah, 2-0 since our last show.
Yep.
But they're 9-1 in the last 10.
Yep.
Right? And they have 5 straight double-digit wins, which is great. They're playing like they were last year.
5 straight.
They're still somehow 6 games behind Cleveland. We were down to like 4.5 or 5.5 or whatever it was, but we're still 6 behind them, so we're not really making any headway there. Cavs are playing good.
Yeah, they are, man. It's crazy, too, because haven't we beaten them twice? They've beaten us once.
Yeah, I mean, the Cavs are a good team. I mean,
they are.
The Knicks, I don't know if you see a lot of the headlines with the Knicks. The Knicks are 0-7 against us in the Thunder.
I didn't see that, but I'm glad to hear it.
The other 3rd best team, whatever the other team was. They haven't beat us, any of the good teams. So we have the most of any 2 NBA teams in the NBA this year. We have the highest percentage of likeliness to play each other in the playoffs is us and the Knicks. We're 55% chance to play them at some point in the NBA playoffs. It's the highest of any 2 teams.
It's funny, too.
So we're probably going to play them.
Well, you know what's funny, too, is I actually think I say that every year. Like, seems like we've never really played the Knicks the last few years in the playoffs. Last time I remember playing them in the playoffs was with Carmelo and Amari Stoudemire. So that'd be cool to actually see them play in the playoffs again. Move over to some more NBA news, and we got some unfortunate stuff here. So the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama is out for the rest of the season with a blood clot in his right shoulder, Frankie. He was averaging...
all these blood clots.
Dude, I know.
Barrymore had blood clots, too. I mean, like, I don't even know.
And honestly, the blood clots is what ended Chris Bosh's career, too.
Yeah, there's been a few different people that had that. It's crazy. It seems like recently, too.
I know. So Wembanyama was averaging roughly 25 points a game, 11 rebounds per game, to go along with a league-high 176 total blocks, bro. He was killing it. He was actually the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, and now he's actually ineligible for that award due to the games that he's going to be missing. But Frankie, I want to show you something funny real quick, and I actually want you to read this. So I saw somebody actually placed a bet on him winning Defensive Player of the Year.
That's tough.
and actually, I want you to look at the date and time, too.
Just threw $10K on Wemby to win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, it's only minus 3,500, and there's no way he doesn't win. Only an act of God can prevent him from hitting. And this was
that's the day
on the
news,
20th.
The day the news got announced.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours before the news came
out.
out.
My God, bro. So that was funny to see. I mean, obviously, I didn't place any bets, but that guy did.
He's out 10 grand, just like that.
So the Spurs are currently 12th in the Western Conference, and this is a huge void for them now, bro, obviously.
I mean, higher draft pick, but yeah, absolutely. They were playing good ball. They made some good moves this year, too.
But like you just said, Frankie, higher draft pick. So remember back in 1996 when David Robinson, the Admiral, broke his foot? He was out for the season. They got that lottery pick. They got Tim Duncan. Now, I'm not saying they're a lock to get Cooper Flagg, but obviously if they start to suck more and then they go below the Wizards and they get a high lottery pick, Cooper Flagg could be going to San Antonio.
You know how the draft, I mean, the balls go in, you could win the lottery.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could have like one ball in there.
Look at that year the Magic did it when they got, you know what I mean? The Spurs actually have another notable figure that's going to be away from their team, and the guy's been there forever since I was a kid.
Yep.
Spurs head coach Greg Popovich is not expected to return this season as he recovers from a mild stroke. And honestly, Frankie, it sucks to say, but his NBA head coaching future is now uncertain.
I feel like he needs to retire. He's had some health issues the last couple years.
So
he's been unbelievable though.
Yeah, it's been especially them just losing Wembanyama and now with this news about Greg Popovich. So I mean,
for sure,
the season's kind of lost at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
So if this is the end for Popovich, what a legendary career this guy had. 5-time NBA champion, 1-time Olympic gold medalist coach, 3-time coach of the year, all-time leader in wins with 1,390 regular season wins, and 170 playoff wins in his 22 postseasons with the Spurs, bro.
Unbelievable.
And then, Frankie, we don't got NBA news, but we had some breaking WNBA news. It looks like Diana Taurasi is going to be retiring after 20 seasons, bro.
One of the best. I remember her when I was young, just watching her at UConn and stuff. Like, it was just like, she's unbelievable. So, I mean, she really did it big. I mean, really paved the way for a lot of women too, just to get into it. I mean, there's a lot of comparisons with Caitlin Clark and stuff like that. We talked about Caitlin a lot, and
absolutely.
But we talked about Diana Taurasi a lot on the U.S. women's basketball team and how many golds she's won and all that. So she's unbelievable and good for her. What a career! And hopefully, I mean, I'm sure she'll still be involved in basketball, whether she's coaching
100%.
or even on the media or doing something with basketball. Because, I mean, that's where she belongs.
Absolutely, bro. 20 years, like I just said, 3-time WNBA champ, 11-time All-Star, and she's the all-time leading scorer in the WNBA.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Hell of a career.
Yep.
Frankie, let's move over to some Red Sox news. It's spring training, man, but let's get into it real quick. So they beat the Rays 6-4 this past Saturday. The Sox actually hit 3 home runs in that game. Then they lost 8-7 to the Blue Jays this past Sunday, and we had 1 home run in that game, Frankie, and it's actually somebody we've brought up recently. Actually, let me show you guys the clip.
Wait, nothing changes for him.
2-1 pitch to Bregman. Rips that one high to left field, up towards the wall and over everything. Welcome to Boston, Alex Bregman. A 2-run shot over the wall, and the Red Sox take a 3-0 lead.
As advertised, he likes the ball close to him.
So in his Red Sox spring training debut, Alex Bregman in his second at-bat, he hit a 2-run homer, bro. That was great to see.
Kid's an animal.
Absolutely.
3 for 3 on the day, single, double, and a homer.
Dude, then just a few hours ago, they lost 6-1 to the Braves.
Yeah, that was tough. And the Yankees were supposed to play yesterday, got postponed.
They got postponed, I saw that. Frankie, Bregman wasn't the only one to homer in his spring training debut with his new team. It was actually somebody else, somebody actually more notable. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
That swing needs. He drives this one out to left center. Leon back to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. And Juan Soto has homered in his first spring training at bat as a New York Met. That's making him mark quickly. Wow. Jeez. Wasting no time. After hitting a career-high 41 home runs for the Yankees last year. Wow. Soto makes the first down payment on the next car.
Man, Juan Soto did one better than Bregman. He homered in his first at-bat with the Mets in spring training, bro.
Soto's nasty.
Dude, the 15-year, $765 million guy?
He's nasty. The Mets are going to be good this year for sure.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I like what the Red Sox did this year. They definitely added. We talked about pitching. They added some good pitches. I mean, Walker Buehler, Patrick Sandoval, Chapman in the bullpen. Garrett Crochet looks like he's going to be an animal for us. That was such a good one.
We needed that, too.
And then we added Alex Bregman. But, I mean, there's already a little rift between him and what's going on with Devers. And I wanted to bring that up because it's like, I don't know, Bregman's like, I'll play wherever you want me to. Although Bregman, we know, is a better third baseman than Devers. He's already won a Gold Glove at the position. Devers led the league in errors at third base. So it's like, what do? You try to keep Devers happy, or you know what I mean?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. I actually just saw a report. Devers is not going to be making an issue of this thing. He's actually planning on playing wherever they need him and doing whatever he needs to help the team win.
True leaders do. He'll play some third base. He'll play some first. He should be DHing a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like his defense isn't why he signed the big contract. It's because he's a good hitter.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So his defense has gotten better. Don't get me wrong. And I appreciate all he does, but at the end of the day, Bregman is a Gold Glove third baseman.
Right, dude. Absolutely.
And he's going to help in the lineup. I wish we kept Tyler O'Neill or one other bat to protect Devers a little bit more. I mean, that was the only thing. They let him go, and he's on the Orioles now. Of course, it's in the division, so it's like that's tough.
Yep.
He played well for us last year. He hits homers, so I don't know. I thought if we could add another right-handed bat, maybe, I think that'd be huge for them. But overall, they had a great offseason, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. We talked about it. They needed the closing pitches. They worked on that and everything. Now they got Bregman, who plays second or third, but I think he'll eventually go to third.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
And then, Frankie, lastly, for some MLB news, the Yankees, man, and, it's the Yankees. We don't like them. But let's bring up something interesting, bro. They're actually getting rid of their facial hair policy, the one they've had since 1976. Facial hair policy. You wouldn't be able to play for them, neither would I.
I'd be like, all set. Sorry, but no, it was cool that they had it, though.
Right.
And they kept it for so long. But, I mean, you got to get with the times.
That's what I'm saying,
it is
bro.
what it is.
Come on, George Steinbrenner. I mean, back then, I get it, man. You're a class organization trying to have them look all cleaned up and everything. But it's sports, man. We're supposed to be getting dirty, have some facial hair and everything.
No, that's cool that they got rid of it. But, I mean, at the same time, I respected that they had it still for so long.
Hey, imagine Derek Jeter with a beard. Check this out, Frankie.
Let's see it. Perfect. That's perfect. Jeter, you look good.
But imagine that, bro. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Figured we'd bring it up.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Alrighty, Frankie, let's move over to some NFL news. We actually had some retirements. So Cowboys guard Zach Martin is to retire after 11 seasons. The guy's a 9-time Pro Bowler, 7-time first-team All-Pro, one of the best guards in the league.
So nasty.
And for the Cowboys, too, man, it's kind of rough because last year they just lost one of their, All-Pro tackles in Tyron Smith. He left for the Jets. Now this offseason starting off, they're losing their top guard, one of the top guards in the league, in Zach Martin.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you right now, that doesn't bode well considering they're trying to keep Dak healthy.
I'm saying they had one of the best lines when they had both of them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? 2 years ago.
Right.
And Dak went crazy. Had a great season, and they obviously lost in the first round like they always do. But at the end of the day, like now you have two guys you got to replace, and Dak's coming off an injury.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So we got another offensive lineman retiring, a very notable one that's been in the league for a long time. And longtime NFL offensive tackle Jason Peters is retiring after 19 seasons. Frankie, real quick, 19 seasons? You usually see punters and kickers, maybe some quarterbacks playing that long. Not a guy who's in the trenches, bro.
Is tough.
That's 19 years as an offensive lineman, bro.
He made it work. He got paid.
So undrafted in 2004, he spent time with the Bills, Eagles, Bears, Cowboys, and Seahawks most recently. 9-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, and he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles.
Yeah, he's nasty. He was another one.
That's what I'm saying. The longevity, bro, to play offensive line. You're taking hits every play,
That's
bro.
unheard of nowadays for sure.
And they just actually said he's expected to join the Seahawks front office. So that's going to be a good change for him, man. So actually, I saw another piece of news. The Bills are actually signing wide receiver Khalil Shakir to a 4-year, $60.2 million
he deserves
extension.
You got to sign him. He played real good this year.
All career highs for him, bro.
Yeah, he played good.
And he's getting $32 million guaranteed.
I'm saying $12 million a year for a good wide receiver like that's pretty. That's a discount in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I feel like if you went to free agency, he might have got a little more.
Mind you,
got like you getting $30 million and stuff. I mean, give me Shakir for 12.
That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy talk.
Good point.
You know what I'm saying?
So last season he had 76 catches, 821 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like I said, all career highs. So it was just a matter of time they were going to give him the bag. So good for him.
Damn, that's awesome.
And Frankie, we didn't have any official cuts this past week. Last week we had a few. We saw Raheem Mostert, Kendall Fuller,
Mostert. Yeah, I thought that was
a surprise and everything. And it looks like the Chargers are actually going to move on from Joey Bosa.
I don't know why. The defense played great this year,
dude. And they actually, I think, are 4th or 5th in terms of the cap too. So they're looking to get some more money.
What's the reasoning to get rid of him? I mean, send him over to us. Let's go.
That's what I'm saying. But you just asked that question, and I guess they could save $25.36 million by cutting or trading him. And they're most likely, like I was just talking about, to cut him. I mean, he's attached to a massive $36.47 million cap hit, bro.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, but I mean the cap. Yeah, that's a big hit. That's a big hit.
That is a big hit. So, I mean, like you said, he's a beast, man. But the Patriots, man, they got over $100 million in cap space, $30 million more than the second in the Raiders.
Let's go.
Bring him to New England, baby.
So that's all we have for Wicked Pissah News. Why don't we jump into the lava round? What do you got for me this week, man?
Here we are again, Frankie, the lava round. Like that last week that you were here, we went over the early free agency predictions, for the quarterbacks and everything. So I figure this week, Frankie, we'll get into the early free agency predictions for the running backs.
I like that.
We'll start off here with number 1, Aaron Jones. And honestly, Frankie, where do you think he's going to be going?
I mean, that's a tough one for me. I like Aaron Jones. He had one of the best seasons he ever had last year. He had the most scrimmage yards he's ever had. He tied his record for touchdowns. I mean, he had a great season. He had 1,138 rushing yards last year. I mean, that's really good for him. The Vikings said if they re-sign him, that he'll probably be used less. He just turned 30, so I think that's the dirty 30 drop off that we always talk about. So it's one of those things where he may not get what he's hoping for. You know what I mean? But I think he could easily be back with the Vikings.
I like that because honestly, I'm going to pick the Vikings as well, Frankie. So last year, like you were talking about the all-purpose yards, and he had the most he's had in his career.
Ever had, yeah.
And last year with rushing numbers, he had 1,138 rush yards, 5 touchdowns in the 17 games played. So we had a full healthy season considering the year before with the Packers, he had an injury-riddled season. I think he only played in 10 games. The Vikings are 7th highest in terms of the cap, but I think you bring back Aaron Jones. Obviously, they got J.J. McCarthy still as their first-round quarterback. They want to try to keep that team together, obviously. Quarterback's the only question. So, I could definitely see Aaron Jones going back to Minnesota and trying to run it back with them on a 2 to 3 year deal.
Total yards.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he had a great season. So
I mean, consider this, too. I mean, the top 2 running backs from that team are both free agents in him and Cam Akers.
Akers, he's a free agent, too.
I don't see Akers coming back. Ty Chandler's still there. Who knows if he makes the team? But I definitely see Aaron Jones going back to Minnesota.
Yeah, he's nasty. I mean, he's a good player, but he is turning 30. He's got some mileage, so it's like he's had some injuries. Last year, he made it through all the games, but then he got banged up in a few of the games. So.
Right. Absolutely. So, Frankie, number 2, we got Najee Harris. And where do you think he's going to go?
This guy I like a lot. 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. You got to love that.
Surprising the Steelers didn't accept his 5th-year option.
There's 2 places I really like. I'm surprised the Steelers didn't either. That was really silly.
Bro.
My 2 favorite landing spots would be the Chargers or the Browns. They're both pound it in your face. I mean, you think of the Browns, you think of Jim Brown and just how he used to run. The Chargers, Harbaugh is a run-first coach. He'd fit right in there for that. I mean, those are my two favorite places. I mean, he very well could end up back on Pittsburgh, but I don't know. I think Najee's a pounder, and he can definitely get it done. I mean, Jim Brown-esque, let's call it that. You know what I mean?
Right,
so it's like...
Yeah, I'm actually going to say the Broncos.
I like the Broncos too, yeah.
So like you were just talking about, his 4th consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons. But not only that, bro, he's played a full 17 games in each of his first 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Not injury-riddled or nothing.
Kid's a good player.
Broncos, they had the 16th ranked rushing offense last season. You should know that, man, with your Javonte Williams starts and everything.
Absolutely.
So they obviously need some help on the running back end. And Javonte Williams is actually a free agent as well.
Yep.
And they're middle of the pack in cap space. So it's like you take a look at Najee Harris. You know, you got the quarterback. You got the receivers that are kind of trending upward. Cortland Sutton's a beast. They really just need to focus at running back on that offense.
If I'm Najee, I'm not going there just because you see what they did there, that they kept mixing up the backfield so much. And Peyton likes to do that.
Well, Javonte's gone. Javonte's gone.
Javonte, but they had the rookie they had
Jaleel
there.
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin was there. They had the S team was there. I mean, they had like 4 guys. It's like one week it would be this guy, the next week it would be this guy. Like that drives me crazy.
But this is Najee Harris. I think he goes to the Broncos. He's obviously taking lead back over there, bro.
Yeah, again, I personally think Javonte Williams is actually very good, and he didn't get a fair shake.
No, he didn't, but also he had the injury bug too, man, and then that led to other opportunities for those other running backs too.
He hurt his ACL.
So yeah, I could see him going to the Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 3, Frankie, we got Nick Chubb. And where do you think he could be going, man, if he is going to play, considering he's been a little banged up?
This would be funny. I think he might go to the Steelers, especially if Najee goes over to the Browns.
Actually.
They might swap running backs, but I mean, he's been injury prone. Obviously, broke his foot this year. He had that nasty knee injury 2 years ago, which was, could have been a career ender. Robert Edwards, I think about, from the Patriots in the rookie All-Pro game when he tore his 3 ligaments in his knee and it ended his career. Robert Edwards was an animal. I don't think he's going to get the paycheck he wants because of the injury. So you sign him on a 1-year deal.
That's what I'm saying.
Cheap money, kind of a prove-it deal. I mean, why not? You know what? He could end up in Dallas too. I mean, Dallas likes to take chances on some guys like this that were really good, big names. Mm-hmm. And you know how Jerry Jones likes to have them big names there. So I mean, he could end up there too.
So Frankie, I'm actually going to say the Bears.
Okay, yeah.
And here's why. So like we just talked about, his numbers looked down last year. 332 rush yards, only 3 touchdowns, but that comes with an asterisk as he was recovering from that bad leg injury, and he only played in 8 games, and he broke his foot like you just said.
Of course.
So with the Browns seemingly in a rebuild mode, I don't see Chubb coming back to Cleveland where he spent all 7 years of his career. The reason I say the Bears is that they're 4th in terms of the cap space. So like you said, man, with his injury history, you wouldn't really have to spend too much. Mind you, I think he really needs to go to a team like the Bears where he's not going to be the focal point of being the all-purpose back.
Yeah.
You have DeAndre Swift over there who's the electric back, but not only that, bro, those two were teammates at Georgia in 2017.
They could be nasty, yeah.
You know what I mean? A good 1-2 punch where it kind of takes some pressure off him being the all-purpose back, where a lot of his injuries are coming from. Go to Chicago, where you're the power back. Obviously, the Roshan Johnson experiment's not really panning out too well. You got Chubb and Swift, man. I think that could be a good match right there.
Absolutely.
And then number 4, Frankie, we got J.K. Dobbins. And where do you think he's going to be going?
This kid's nasty too, but he is always injured. He missed 4 games last year, and it was his best season. He had 905 yards. I mean, he could easily go back to the Chargers, but I mean, I don't know. I think he fits in well with the zone and the gap schemes that the Browns run a lot. He's familiar with that division because he was on Baltimore. So, I mean, he could do that. Or, he could re-sign. Like I said, I don't know. It's either Chargers or Browns for me. That's kind of the way I'm going. He had a good season, but I don't think he's played a full season yet in his career.
I like that, man, and I could definitely see him going back to the Chargers, and I'll break down why. After 3 back-to-back injury-riddled seasons, J.K. Dobbins had the best season of his career playing for the Chargers, like you were just talking about, Frankie. Played in 13 games, 905 rush yards, 9 touchdowns, bro, which was very good for him considering...
That tied his career high.
That's what I'm saying. Chargers had the 6th highest cap space, like we were talking about with them getting rid of Joey Bosa, so it's like, bring him back. The money's not an issue, obviously. He played well within your offense, and at only 26 years old, Frankie, I could see Jim Harbaugh bringing him back.
He's young, that's what I mean. He's him or Harris. For me, like, depending on what the Chargers do and want, like, I feel like you might be able to get JK again a little discounted because guess what? You still haven't played a full season. You missed 4 games.
That's the thing.
Your knee sprain, got a knee sprain last year, so it's like you could get a discount on him too.
Well, that's the thing too. The other running backs that are over there are Gus Edwards, Hassan Haskins, and Kamani Vidal, and honestly, none of those guys are really appealing. So yeah, I'd say Jim Harbaugh would be smart to bring back Dobbins.
I mean, he's a good player. Why
Absolutely.
not?
Number 5, we got Rico Dowdle, and where do you think he could be going? He ended the year on a great note.
This guy, people drafted him in fantasy, and I'm like, whatever. You look at what he did: 1,000 yards. He had the 5th or 6th best success rate in the entire NFL. Only 235 carries this year, but only 331 in his whole career. He's young. He's 26 years old. He played very well.
Especially at the end of the season.
4
of his last 6 games, he rushed for over 100 yards.
With him, I mean, again, we're talking about a lot of the same teams, like teams that need running backs. I mean, I could see him go to the Raiders. I could see him going to the Chargers. He could be back with Dallas because Dallas cut Zeke and they didn't have anybody anyway besides Rico Dowdle. Let's be real.
If you had to pick one, though, where could you see him going?
I mean, if it's me, I'm going back to Dallas.
So I'm actually going to agree with you there. I could see him going back to Dallas as well. End of the year on a great note. We even said it, man. It's going to be that boom in his fantasy stock towards the end of the year and everything. Absolutely. The guy had 591 total rush yards in the last 6 games, bro.
He played so good. He was very consistent. You knew what you were going to get from him.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like a guy getting you 200 one week and then 10 the next.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, man, I don't think that the Rico Dowdle stock is really booming right now for a lot of other teams. And I think Dallas takes a look at, mind you, Dallas is horrible in cap right now, man. So get him on a team-friendly deal.
You better sign him soon. Do you know what I mean? As soon as the free agency opens, you better get him on.
They already let Tony Pollard leave thinking that Zeke was still going to be the answer. Look how that worked out for them. I don't think they're going to let Rico slide and get out of the building yet.
I mean, if you can sign him hometown discount,
that's what I'm saying.
What I mean? He hasn't proven that he can do it year in and year out, that you have to give him this massive contract. And I don't think he's going to get a massive contract from anybody else either.
Well,
but he played very good. Yep.
So this year it was a boom year for him. So we could see his stock, going up. But just I don't see the free agency market really going crazy for him. I see him going back to Dallas.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then lastly, Frankie, we do the random players and everything. So number 6, I'm going to say running back Raheem Mostert. You know where I could see him going? I could see him going back to San Fran.
Yeah, he'd fit in good there.
I'm going to break it down. So Mostert had a crazy drop in stats this past season, considering the year before he led the league with 21 touchdowns, over 1,000 rush yards and everything like that. And this year, I think he only had like 200-something yards and 2 touchdowns.
Two touchdowns, yep, that's it.
So him going to the 49ers, I think, seems like a good fit, considering obviously we saw CMC banged up last year.
Oh, yeah.
And they could have used a guy like him, considering Jordan Mason, who is actually a free agent.
Mason was playing great, then he got hurt.
And then he fell off. And then you saw Elijah Mitchell get hurt. And then Garendo was coming in. So they had a committee of running backs.
Crazy.
Now I'm thinking here, obviously, you still got CMC over there, and hopefully he's going to have a healthy season. But I think you bring in a guy like Mostert, who actually played for the 49ers.
He played well for
5
them,
or
too.
6
Yeah,
seasons.
he played well.
You bring him in, and hopefully he can kind of be some insurance for Christian McCaffrey. We've seen him get banged up almost every year.
Yeah, that's a good landing spot for him.
So who you got, Frankie?
My pick this week, or my extra guy, is Javonte Williams. He's a free agent. I actually like this kid a lot. I draft him a lot in fantasy. He still hasn't really proven it to me, but I think he's better than what people think. So I don't think he's going to end up back in Denver, but there is talk recently that they may re-sign him. So I don't know if they're going to keep him up. But he was drafted by Denver. The GM came out and said they might re-sign him. But I do like one spot that we haven't talked about. I like him in KC. P. Ryan is a free agent, and Kareem Hunt.
Right.
If you can get a guy that can catch the ball, you got, Pacheco there and Javonte Williams. That's a good 1-2 punch one way.
And Pacheco could use the insurance as well.
That's what I mean. Pacheco got hurt, missed 8 games, broke his leg. Again, he could end up in Dallas. Zeke's been cut, and Rico's a free agent. So you could see him in Dallas. I think he'd fit well in Dallas also. But I kind of like the situation that KC's got going on over there. So
absolutely. I like that fit too, brother.
So, yeah, that's been a great episode. I'm glad to be back, episode 37.
Hey, Frankie, sorry to interrupt you, man, but you hear that, man? What's going on this time, man?
I do. There's always something in
it
this
just
place.
got dark in here, bro. Frank, why is the desk on fire?
The tribe has spoken.
The tribe has spoken. How have you gotten in here?
Put it out of Survivor.
Who the is Natalia? Oh, my bad.
I knew it. I knew I couldn't trust you.
Wait, what? What did I do? Sorry if I...
Don't be sorry. Shut up.
Excuse me?
Super rude.
Frank, I don't know what's going on this week. Can you please tell me?
I know what this is. It's the season 48 season premiere this week of Survivor. Can you believe it's 48?
48.
That's crazy.
They must do like a few seasons a year or something
40,
like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's a lot. That's sick. Good
So
for them.
that explains the torches, the desk being on fire, this chick yelling at us and everything. She's just salty. She got kicked off the island.
She gone.
We still here. But Frankie, let's get out of here, brother.
From Beantown to your town, stay wicked, Pissah.
From the TD Garden to your garden, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.